St. Lucia is located at Unit 4, Gablewoods Mall, Sunny Acres, Gas-Free St. Lucia. Tune in on 95.9 FM or online at revupslu.com. Call the studio at 572-9710 or WhatsApp 287-0971. Call the office at 572-0383 or 572-0215. Rev-Up St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
It's now time for Meet the Minister, hosted by Terence Fenelon. Mr. Fenelon, it's good to see you again. Welcome.
Thank you, Andre. Good morning to you and the listeners and viewers. I have to remind them, we are on what? Facebook, YouTube.
That's right.
X.
We are online.
And we're no longer 91.7, we're on 95.9 FM across the island, right? And we have to shout out Soufre. Andre, why are you so in love with Soufre, man?
In fact, I'll be there, God willing, tomorrow night.
So you will stay down for the launching on Sunday, right?
Hey, that's a good idea, now that you mentioned that.
You should do that, Andre. You stay down, you already have your Airbnb, you stay down, and it's going to be the mother of all launchings, Andre. So you'll stay down in Soufre, just swing, to Chazelle.
In fact, I know the candidate very, very, very well. In fact, and I was very close to his father, his late father. Yes, .com Sounds.
.com. Oh, yes, .com Sounds.
That's right.
No, is his father or his uncle? I think it's uncle.
Oh, okay, so it's uncle. I thought it was his father.
Yeah, .com. But he has been in the business, Andre,
anyway,
and you as a DJ and thing. So I think you should give him some support. Andre, I'll give you a handkerchief, a flag and stuff. So you'll be red and ready, Andre. Red and ready, Andre. You know what I mean? No, Andre is already in the fold. I don't have to try. Andre is already
the blue wave.
You see, I'm not afraid for Andre. Andre is on board. Andre knows, Andre knows where the substance of governance is. And Andre is no fool, Don't worry what people say. His head is on Andre. Do I have anything to respond to, Andre? Not really.
No. Except yesterday on Powell Politic, the issue of Mr. Noble came up.
We have dealt with that, and I'm not going to go there. Today we have the minister, Powell, and they were giving you some Powell GT there. It's my pleasure to have in studio with me the Honorable Jeremiah Norbert, the MP for Viewfort North. No, hey, Terry, check yourself. Miku North, and it's also the Minister for Crime Prevention and Persons with Disabilities. As I was telling him, yes, we're going to be talking about his constituent, but as a minister, you cannot be on Meet the Minister and not give an account of your ministries. So we're going to spend, I know the producer might be a little nervous, but it says Meet the Minister, and as a minister, you have to account. You're there to the public, and we can just briefly, you could touch on your two ministries, what new developments have been taking place, and then we'll move on from there. So I leave the floor to you.
Okay, so good morning. Morning, Andrew.
Morning. Welcome, Mr. Minister.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure, always a pleasure being in your midst. Only yesterday, from the Home Affairs standpoint, we met with Ambassador Nicholas Slu, the Taiwanese ambassador, and we handed over another ambulance to the St. Lucia Fire Service. So we're in the presence of the fire chief and other executive members of the St. Lucia Fire Service. And I know that this ambulance will go a long way. And I think as a government, we can proudly say that we've invested the most money into the St. Lucia Fire Service. The investment that you've seen in our tenure is unprecedented when you look at what existed prior to we entering into a full, what traditionally the fire service would have received was annually you get about $800,000. We've invested in the past 2.5 years on the CDP project. We've invested in excess of 27 million EC in the St. Lucia Fire Service under a program called Enhancing the Resilience of the St. Lucia Fire Service. And in that program, you would have seen we donated, not too long ago, we donated an aerodrome to the St. Lucia Fire Service, and it has actually helped us increase the category of the airport into, that's George Charles. Because of the equipment there now, the category have increased, I don't know if it's from 5 to 8. Also, we've seen several ambulances being given to the St. Lucia Fire Service, and I must commend them every time I get the opportunity to do so, because if there is one institution, one agency that actually takes good care and manages the assets that you give them very well, it has to be the St. Lucia Fire Service. They have their own engineering department, and I mean, yesterday I cracked a joke with them to tell them there are vehicles that the speedometer have actually run out. That's how long that they have these vehicles. But if you were to see these vehicles, most of these vehicles are more or less in pristine condition. They do a very good job in terms of the general maintenance and upkeep of their vehicle. And the fleets that they had, the fleets of ambulance that they had were really outdated, really outlived its usefulness. However, they made it work. And understanding the importance of the work that the men and women of the St. Lucia Fire Service has to do, I think it was important that we made that type of investment. And more than that, I've gone to basically most of the fire services or the fire stations around St. Lucia. I've met with the firemen at the different stations. They've expressed, most of them are, the majority of them are extremely happy about what is happening, the assistance that they've been getting from this administration. So for me, I think it's a very proud moment for me to be the minister responsible for the St. Lucia Fire Service. Also at the Bodley Correctional Facility, which falls directly under the Ministry of Home Affairs. We've done some work. Yesterday we had some inmates, and I think one of our shortfalls is our inability to let people know what is happening at these institutions. So for instance, most people, when you think of the prison, they think of, like you go there and you become an outcast and everybody forget about you. Currently, we have prisoners working Lubeko at Quality Grains. We have them working several institutions. So much so that the director and myself had a conversation about, some of the institutions more or less almost want to hire prisoners alone. So, and what it has done for the prison, it has really assisted us in that the prisoners, they get qualified. So we have them doing TVET woodwork at the prison. We also have them doing, I think right now they're working on bringing a culinary arts program to the prison as well. And these prisoners go out, they build homes. They just recently finished a home, I think somewhere in Viewfort North. They finished building a home there, and I think they have several other houses to build, and they're working in collaboration with the St. Lucia Social Development Fund, the SSDF, and they're building houses for people. And they work with Quality Grains, they work with Lubeko, they do most of the production with these institutions. And what it does is that it allows them now to make an income, and I think from all indications, next year you have some prisoners in September of next year who are going to be making massive contributions towards the children's education. So we have prisoners who are going to be, when September or when August come next year, they'll be able to make a contribution, because part of the earnings is secured, so especially for those who have children, so that they can make a contribution towards the general upkeep of their children. And I think the prisoners actually enjoy it, and they're asking, more and more asking for them to be able to go to work, which is very encouraging for us, in that you have less free time on your hand at the prison. These individuals no longer, because when you know what they say about idle minds and idle hands, we've seen in terms of riots and acts of violence in the prison, we've seen the numbers. We've seen the numbers reduce significantly, and we've seen in terms of the attitude of the prisoners. I think it's very, what we're trying to work on now is to put something in place to ensure, because we had something called CREP, the Community Reintegration Program, and that program allowed for prisoners, especially those prisoners who are getting ready to make their exit, those who are penal inmates, because if somebody is on remand, it has to be voluntary. They have to wave their hand and say, I'm interested in the program. You cannot force them to be part of a mandate that they be part of a particular program. But those who are getting ready to go out, we had under the Community Reintegration Program, we provided them with psychosocial support, we provide them with life skills training, provide them with job training, among other things. And what that did, I think the only downside to that is a certificate is not issued. And I said to my peers, what we need to do is to probably find a way to issue them with a certificate, so that when they leave, individuals in the private sector now probably can recognize that individual as somebody who would have gone through a transition, who would have gone for a rehabilitation program. Because one of the issues you have, and one of the reasons they say we have such a high rate of recidivism, is because when these individuals, even if they go for a rehabilitation program, we as a country and as a society, we are not very receptive to individuals who have gone to prisons. So when you go to, for instance, let's say you went to prison, and remember, anybody can fall in prison. I mean, I don't think most people just get up and say, I want to go to prison today. And it can be just one mishap, and you know how these things go. But if you have somebody who goes into prison, they serve their time, and now they're released. But generally, or naturally, you would have a conviction or a record. And then you go to, let's say, a hotel, and you're seeking employment. One of the things they ask a prerequisite is they need a police record. What that would do now is you already have a stain on your record, or almost automatically disqualifies you for a job. And what these individuals are telling you is that, I mean, if I'm not going to get work, I need to eat, I have needs, I have children, I have a family. And if that alone is going to prevent me or disqualify me from getting a job, then it puts me in type of a predicament, and they usually fall back into what they know, and you see it becomes a cycle. So, I mean, there's quite a bit that has to be done, but I'm happy with the progress that we're making from the prison and also with the St. Lucia Fire Service. And yesterday we had the Taiwanese, I must also thank the Taiwanese embassy, because they've been doing quite a bit of work in terms of reintegration. We had some compost program where we teach prisoners to make compost, and you can actually make a livelihood from that. And yesterday we had some of them who graduated from that program, which was also very, very, very good, a very proud moment for the Bodley Correctional Facility.
So, Mr. Noble, sorry to disturb you. How did the ministry get past this issue of the police record? How? Because you said that they've now been integrated into, certain businesses and so on. I mean, which is good news. But how do you get past that?
So currently, what we've seen, so we have those individuals, like those who work, for instance, the individuals who work at Caribbean Grains and Quality Meats. Because whilst they're in the prison, they're indebted into a program and they work with these institutions, what you have is when they're released from prison, you have the automatic absorption. So because you would have already developed a relationship, or the employer would have already developed a relationship with you. However, when they go into institutions who may not know them, that is where the challenge lies. But those who have, what you can tell you is those, and what we've seen is individuals who have actually gone through these programs. I think Mr. Albert can verify. I don't know that any of them who have gone through Quality Meats, Caribbean Grains, who have worked, and when they've been released from prison going to work, I don't know that we've seen any of them again at the prison. So much so, some of them are actually doing like motivational talks and whatnot with other prisoners, and have volunteered their time. So it's very encouraging for us. What we believe we have to do now as a ministry is to meet with the private sector, meet with SLHTA and the different teams, more or less to sensitize them on what it is that we're doing and how they now can assist us. Because, I mean, crime affects everybody. Criminality affects everybody, including the private sector and the businesses and the agencies. So if they can play a part by recognizing, if we're able to give a certificate, by recognizing it and giving this an opportunity, I think it will make life a little easier for all of us. So that is what we're trying to work on now, trying to put in, having meetings, engaging the various stakeholders so that they can be aware of what it is that we're doing, and they can now play their part in terms of making some of the things we're trying to do a reality.
Do you think it's time to stop the practice of having your records tainted? In other words, you've been to prison, that now any potential employer has to know that you were once incarcerated. I'm just asking, do you think it's time to move away from that?
Okay, so
and what is the thinking behind it in the first place? Why the need to do that?
Okay, I think it's important that people know about your background, because if you're going to look for a job and they would want to know where you worked before, they want to know what your academic qualifications are, naturally. So they want to know the good things. Equally important is that they know the type of individual that you are. So if you're a thief, if you're a renowned thief, I think it's important that if I'm coming to work for you, that you know the type of person that I am. However, what we've done as a government is understanding there are minor infractions that people commit. I mean, there was once upon a time where marijuana was illegal in St. Lucia, and individuals got arrested, maybe for 20 grams, maybe for 15 grams, maybe half a pound of marijuana. And most times, you would think of it, the marijuana was for personal use, but because it was illegal, you got arrested, you got charged, and a conviction. What we did as a government was, underneath the Criminals Rehabilitation Act, we've allowed for individuals to come in and make an application for the records to be expunged, and so that they can get a clean rap sheet. So we have a board in place. We have a board, I think, Miss Nicholas might be the chairperson of that board, yes. And what you do is you go into the criminal records department, you put in an application. So the same way you apply for a police record, you apply for your record to be expunged. And the board meets ever so often, and they review your application, and you can get. And I think that's commendable, because you have quite a few of, and just imagine how that can change somebody's life, Andre. For instance, you have people who want to go on a cruise ship and work. And if you have a criminal record, it can be for 10 ounces of marijuana. It can be for being armed with a dangerous weapon. And being armed with a dangerous weapon is a very ticklish type of offense. You can be walking with a pair of scissors, and police believe that you want to use this as weapon and charge you, and you can be convicted for that. And maybe that may not necessarily be the case. But right now, people have an opportunity to go and get their records expunged, make a case for themselves and to get their record expunged. And we've seen numerous individuals putting applications for their records to be expunged. So I think that is one step in the right direction to afford people a second chance, a real chance at life again. Because what happens is, during your youthfulness and with all your youthful exuberance, you may be a little hot-tempered or hot-headed. You may end up in a fight, give a man a punch, assault him, and that stays on your record for 5-10 years and can literally hamper you moving forward. And I mean, you ask yourself, really and truly, if two young boys fighting a fist fight and one give one a punch, maybe he have a swell in there and he gets a conviction. That should not prevent somebody from being able to reach their full potential in life. And that alone can cause somebody to engage in criminality, Because right now you figure, okay, boy, this whole world is against me. It's just a little fight you are. I mean, there are some major infractions that you have to treat with the utmost seriousness. I mean, you cannot. So if a man takes a gun and just shoots someone, I mean, there is no excuse as to why you can. And I mean, I'm not God, I'm not the person to judge, but I think within our own consciousness, we know what is minor and what is major, and we can look. We can use our discretion sometimes and see, okay, probably it's an error. It's not something that somebody is doing habitually. So we can make a distinction between the two. So I'm happy that as a government, we've made some strides in that regard, and we've afforded individuals an opportunity to be able to make an application for their conviction to be expunged if needs be. Okay. I will go into disability.
Yes, right briefly, because
I know the time. So disability, we've been able to make some strides as well. I think last week we had several consultations. They went to various places in the country because we have a policy that was prepared and presented to us. The first draft was presented, so we're introducing it to different stakeholders to get comments and to actually do some review of the policy itself. Very, very engaging. Quite a few things. What we've seen from it is that there's a need to tweak some things. Also, what we were able to do is we were able to collaborate, and I'm happy when we have an opportunity to collaborate with agencies who don't just rely on government to do everything. So I know he does not like his name being mentioned, but I think it's important that I mention his name, Mr. Conrad Wagner, as the owner of Calabash Cove, but he comes in his capacity as a Rotary Club member, and they've been able to go out there and negotiate. And then right as we speak now, we signed a memorandum of understanding between Medical Associates, which is Tapio Hospital, and Rotary Caribbean Plus, and the government of St. Lucia. And what that memorandum of understanding is to set up a St. Lucia Artificial Limb Center, and that is going to allow individuals to be able to access prosthetics at a much cheaper price. What we've done now, where we are now, is we have Tapio has already given us the space, and as we speak, the retrofitting is happening. The equipment has already been sourced, so once the space is ready, the equipment is going to be shipped here. We have Montero Medical Mission in the United States that have agreed to assist us in that regard, and to provide us with the parts for the limbs. So hopefully early during the course of maybe first or second quarter of next year, we should be in a position to be able to provide limbs to St. Lucians at a much more affordable rate, And the idea is to go beyond the shores of St. Lucia, but become more or less like a regional hub for prosthetic limbs. So we can get almost maybe individuals from St. Vincent and other places in the region can come here. One of the things I'm proud about in that particular initiative is that we had individuals here who already did basic training. So Murray in Babuno, he was already working with the National Council for Persons with Disability. I have a gentleman in my constituency, Mr. Daniel Frederick. We have Rev-Up in Denry, two of them are amputees themselves, but they've done basic courses in the building of prosthetic limbs. They are going to get further training and qualifications, so that the idea is that when the Montero Medical Mission comes in, they're going to spend about 18 months in St. Lucia, train a cohort of St. Lucians, send them overseas to do a short period to strengthen their skills and their capabilities, and then officially hand over and allow St. Lucians to run it. Prime Minister has already made a contribution of in excess of $370,000 towards the facility, and he has promised us that in the new financial year that he's going to increase this allocation significantly. The idea is to ensure that everybody who needs a limb can get a limb. I think we are doing a disservice to individuals here when you tell me that a young lady who becomes an amputee, for instance, is unable to afford or unable to go to work. She is unable to provide for her family just because she does not have a limb. And I don't know if you understand the level of empowerment, economic empowerment, economic independence that comes with having a limb. Just imagine, Andrew, had I not have a prosthetic leg this morning, I had to come upstairs. Yeah? You don't have a lift in this building. So there's no way I'd have made it to the show this morning. Otherwise, somebody would have to indignify me and carry me and bring me up the stairs. But I have a prosthetic limb, and I think I'm not speaking for myself. I'm not even speaking just in the capacity of minister. As a person with a disability, I think, and I've gone around, I've traveled, and I see individuals what a prosthetic limb is able to do for individuals.
In fact, I didn't even remember you have a prosthetic limb.
You understand? And
it never crossed my mind.
So that's the level of independence it gives you. So the idea is to ensure that everybody who needs one, we're actually working with Muphilas James and the team to put together a disability registry. So I can say now, I can pitch it out now, we will be going to each community. We would like to have a record of the individuals with disability in St. Lucia, so that our decisions can be data driven and not just guessing and just giving individuals, but you know exactly what the need is and you can provide for them accordingly. And I just came from a conference in Barbados last week, the Caribbean Disability Network Conference, and I think the major topic there was inclusive education. Barbados have already passed, I think earlier this year they passed the National Disability Policy and the legislation, and Mayor has put some money in the budget to do an audit of the city of Bridgetown to see how accessible the city is. And I think they've given individuals a mandate of 3 years from the time of the legislation to do the retrofitting to ensure, especially places where you provide a public good or public service. So for me, one time when I can say that, I know I'm in government and I have a responsibility to make the change where necessary, and that is why I've already said to Prime Minister, next year we have to give some serious consideration to some of these places that provide, for instance, the passport office. I think it is unfair to absolutely anybody, an elderly or someone with a disability, to have to climb in excess of 60 stairs to go and get a passport. A passport is not any means of luxury. It's a basic necessity that you need, and it's unfair to anybody. So these are the things that we're looking at, and we're going to be making some significant changes during the course of next year to ensure that we create a certain level of accessibility. Everything is not going to happen overnight. We're also going to look at putting in certain things in the legislation to allow more or less to incentivize business places that are going to make allocations and provisions for individuals with disability. So it's quite a bit, but I'm happy with where we're going. We're already looking at, we took the legislation from Barbados, we've sent it to AG, and we're looking at from the ministry standpoint to see what can we piggyback on, how can we tweak it to suit us here in St. Lucia, and to see how soon. The intention initially was by December 3rd of this year to pass which is International Day for Persons with Disability, to pass that specific piece of legislation. However, we're in very, I want to call it, heightened political activity period. So we've had a few start-stop moments. However, hopefully very soon we'll be able to give it our full attention and be able to get to that point where we ensure we have a much more accessible country, and we have provisions for individuals with disability. And we want to separate, and we're also working on separating. So right now, there's we're using the wide brush approach to deal with individuals with disability. Let me give you a scenario. So disability is being dealt with under the they used to deal with it under the Ministry of Equity, and currently they're working on the transfer to the ministry with responsibility for persons with disability. But here's something, Andrew, you would find very strange. A child goes on a disability grant from the time that he or she is born or he has been identified as a person with a disability. But at the age of 21, the disability grant comes to a halt. Does not continue thereafter. You ask yourself whether that child disability stops at 21. Imagine a child with cerebral palsy, or a child who has Down syndrome, and the child at 21, the needs of that child increases. But because of the current system that we have in place, and we've had in place for a very long time, and these are some of the systemic changes that we must make, the child now has to make an application to be on a welfare program. And there is no automatic guarantee that when you make the application that you're just going to graduate from disability to welfare. So you have individuals who may move from disability and may not necessarily find themselves on welfare, but that does not mean that their needs have changed. So what we want to do now is to deal with disability specifically, so that's why we have a ministry, so that we're going to review the amount of money that they get, the contribution that they get. I mean, truth be told, I think it's dismal, and there's no way it's insufficient. There's no way that it can actually meet, or it can reach close to meeting the needs of persons with disability. $227. I mean, when you think of the price of a pack of Pampers, and you have individuals who use Pampers, adult Pampers, that is, and that's not even sufficient money to buy the Pampers. Yeah. So we understand the sensitive nature of disability, and we really want to give it that level of attention, and to really treat people with disability the way that they should be treated, and not in because they deserve special attention. You can't deal with disability the same way that you deal with welfare. So I cannot wait for the full transfer to happen, and for us to have full control over what happens with disability in this country. So
while we're waiting for the transfer, Mr. Minister,
yes,
I mentioned at the beginning of the program that I'm playing at a dance tomorrow evening in Soufrière.
Yes.
This is for a young lady who needs a prosthetic leg, and they're trying to raise funds. Now, I'm sure based on the entry fee, $10, the size of the place that they'll be having this activity, they most likely wouldn't come anywhere near what is needed. So, since I'll be heading on that side tomorrow, what can I say to the organizers of this event in terms of what can be done for the young lady?
So, truth is, you do not, as we speak now, you do not have any system in place to facilitate individuals, and that is why we are where we are right now. That is why it is important that we set aside a ministry specifically to deal with these matters, because again, Andrew, it is unfair to this young individual that we must have a fundraiser for you. It further indignifies you. You become like a case of la charité, and you're depending on some people to come in and pay $10 at the door for you to get a prosthetic leg.
That's right.
Nobody, absolutely nobody, should have to go through that. It's unfortunate that we still have about 5 or 6 months to go before we're in a position to provide the prosthetic legs. I can have a conversation with you after the show, so I can guide you on what we can do to assist her in the meantime. But I don't even think that should not even be the right channel. And that's why I cannot wait for us to have that system set up where this individual will just go in, they take her measurements, and they can outfit her with a leg, and then she can go outside and she can just live her life. Because I mean, again, I tell you, it's very dignifying. It's dehumanizing to some individuals. For some of us, Andrian, unless you've been an amputee or you've had an amputation, you may not truly understand what it is to go through. Andrian, I'm very fortunate. Not everybody is as fortunate as I am. And even me, in my capacity, there are times where I feel like people forget that I have a prosthetic leg. I'm serious. Right now, I'm in a ministry where my office, when I went there, I laughed at it. And I said, you see the importance of, I thank God that the Prime Minister gave me that ministry. Because it has been, being a person with a disability has really been an eye-opener for me. As the minister, I have to climb several stairs to go to my office. There's no elevator in my building. And if somebody with a disability comes, I have to walk downstairs to meet them somewhere downstairs. We have a ramp, at least to start, quote unquote, there's a ramp to come in, but I would have to go to meet them downstairs. But it just shows you where we are. So in terms of the revision of the building code, and I think it's high time, even that is one of the key things we need to ensure. Most of the government buildings or government agencies, the premises are rented. So government rents from individuals. I think we need to mandate, and we are going to mandate that. And if you're going to rent for the government, the least you can do is ensure that your building is accessible. Because you have no telling who comes, and government serves everybody. So you cannot have a government building and you tell me it's not a show you have or your private bedroom, and you decide who come in, who go out. It's a government agency, and any Tom, Dick, or Harry should be able to access a government building. And even the parking, I think the last time I mentioned that, is something that, and that's why we have a responsibility to go on a huge PR campaign. In Trinidad, in Barbados, there was a name them and shame them type of campaign where individuals who were not qualified to be in the parking and they were there. And it worked well, so much so that we've seen a serious shift in terms of the culture and the attitude of individuals towards persons with disabilities. So we're making some significant strides. We're making some strides. Ask me whether or not I'm happy with the pace at which we're moving. Sometimes I pray that we could move a little faster. There are a lot of bureaucratic issues that you have to overcome. But what I can tell you is, given the importance of what it is that I have to deal with as it relates to persons with disability, I rather take my time and do it properly, rather than rush it just to get the public applause to say, oh, yes. No. I rather take my time and ensure, because whatever I'm doing today is for myself as well. It's going to benefit me tomorrow. No, it's going to benefit me tomorrow. So we continue our consultations, we continue our meetings, but whilst we do that, we have certain low-hanging fruits like the prosthetic center, the registry that we're starting to work on, and hopefully we should be able to see some significant progress in the new year coming.
Now somebody just gave me a call out online there and says it's not disability, it's differently able.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's persons and no.
Yes, yeah.
You that doesn't mean, and we have to be very careful with the language and the nomenclature that we use.
That's right.
And what is internationally acknowledged and recognized and accepted. And the prominence is placed on the person and not on the disabled. So you don't say disabled individuals. It's persons or individuals with disability. So the prominence is placed on the individuals and not on the disability. And even that is one of the reasons why we will have to go out and do the PR campaign. Yes. Because even myself, before I became an individual with a disability, I mean, Mufilers gave me my FEPLOC too. Yeah, he gave me my FEPLOC because of the language that I use.
Yes.
And even when I became, soon after my disability, I think I was on a show with Alvina.
Yes.
And I made mention of, I think I understood the plight of individuals with disability. And I remember the National Council for Persons with Disability, they really take a tumble down my tail to tell me that almost like it's premature for me to make such a comment. And I said, no. Brother man, listen, Andre, if you are here today and you become disabled tomorrow you understand what it is, because your life would have changed drastically. What you would have been able to do yesterday, you will not be able to do today. So there's nothing like being premature in terms of being, once you become disabled, you become disabled. And your life just changes the minute that you become disabled. You're no longer as independent as you used to be. But again, as I tell you, I'm happy with where we go.
All right. Okay, Mr. Minister, I know my producer is getting nervous there. You know, he gets nervous very quickly.
Yeah.
When we see that time is running and we have not it up. Now, Cell Nkini?
Say JN.
Say JN. Now we're going to, you're the parliamentary representative for Miku North.
Correct.
I mean, a stronghold. I mean, you did the unthinkable, with your disability and stuff. I mean, we have gone through that. We don't want to go through that again. But now that you have settled, it's 4 years and counting. Let us see what is some of the work that you have done, what is happening, what is in the pipeline, and what is it that we can look forward to.
All right, Terry. Well, for me, to be honest, my journey as parliamentary representative for Miku North has been gratifying, satisfying, but also it has really been an eye-opener for me, if I'm being quite honest with you. Before assuming the post of parliamentary representative, I saw things a particular way. And only, sometimes you're outside looking in, and you just assume and have certain perceptions about how things work. And it's only sometimes when you get, when I see 1 foot in, 1 foot out, I usually laugh. It's a joke I give myself, So, well, when you get in, then you understand the magnitude of the task that you have ahead. and it has really been good working in the constituency. I think immediately upon assuming office, I would have identified some of the issues that we had in the community. My community is predominantly a fishing and farming community. So, Praline and Miku, we have two of the days where you had, in terms of landing, we had some of the biggest landings in terms of fish in both Praline and Miku. And what we saw our numbers dwindle over time. For various reasons, we had a huge influx of sargassum coming in there that really hampered the livelihoods of our fishermen in that community, in these communities. And well, we all knew what happened with when I came into office, what happened with the jetty then, and we were able to. It was not even a hard job to convince Prime Minister to get the funds required to build a solid timber jetty for the fishermen there. I think he too expressed his view that he believed that they deserved it, they needed it, and he did not think twice to say, okay, let's go, and we went back on a project. And today I can tell you that jetty serves the community extremely well. I go there and I see the fishermen using it, utilizing it to be able to go out to be, and it's really satisfying for me, because right now I have individuals who can ply their trade, who can go out there, make a living, take care of their family, provide for their family. Also, we have, and not just the jetty. When we did jetty, I felt it was also important. It's a bit unsightly when you go to buy fish and you see every Tom, Dick and Harry urinating all over the place, and that's somewhere you're going to buy fish. Yeah, and you have to think of the So we're able to put in proper washroom facilities for the individuals. So right now the fishermen have proper washroom with bathroom and all of these things. More than that, man, I decided that, you know what, my fishermen have been a disadvantage in terms of where they get their ice, where they get their gas. So we look at how we can build, holistically how we can build the bay, the Miku Bay. So what we did, I was able to influence Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Alfred Prosper, I was able to convince him to give us a ice machine. So we currently built the building for the ice machine. It's complete. The ice machine is procured. The bins are there. We've paid for the water connection. The only challenge we have in now, as we speak, the only reason we've not officially opened the ice machine is because we have, I think you need free-phase electricity. And Lucelec just gave us the costing. We've sent it to the ministry, and now the ministry is working on paying to get the free phase there. Once the free phase is there, that's it. The fishermen are going to have full access to ice right there on the bay. More than that, we're actually we've already secured the money, we've already started the work on a little cooperative for the fishermen there. So we're going to have a little bait and tackle shop right there. And more than that, we're going to start the work on fishing, on vending stalls for the fishermen there. So we're really going to transform what the Miku Bay looks like. So at least it's somewhere when you come, it's easy on the eyes, it's appealing for you, you feel good doing business there because the environment is one that is looking nice and healthy, and you understand everything looks nice and clean, the optics of it is good. So we've done that in terms of, for the fishermen of Miku. Parallel, the jetty has also been given some issue. We did some we did some remedial work to allow, because several of the planks were out, so we did some remedial work, but Minister has confirmed with me that we have the money to do full refurbishment of the Parallel jetty, so I'm also happy about that. Then if we're in Parallel, as you speak, if you were to pass on the highway now, you see we just completed a road there. We're just working on a second road in Parallel. In Monrepo, the wind playing field, massive project for us. If you know what the wind playing field is, or what it was, and you know the wind playing field is what produced people like Keon Gaston, Gary Maffrin, Emmanuel Walter, Craig Walter, we have, what's his name, Keon, all of them, Sean Hill, Edward, that is the Sabina Simanuel. All these individuals were formed, Cletus Maffrin, they were formed on the wind playing field. However, if we're being honest, I think the wind playing field really needed some love and attention. So we've put in world-class lights at the wind playing field. They've already been completed, and yesterday I took a drive to the wind playing field because we were doing the resurfacing of the grounds. And I saw a beautiful layer of grass growing there. So sometime during the month of November, we're going to have, or very early in December, I don't know, we're going to have the official opening of the wind playing field. But what we see now, what we see now is not the end product. We're going to be putting in stands. We're going to be putting changing rooms. We're going to be putting in you call them concession areas. So it's going to be a whole project. It's going to be when it's going to become a mini stadium. So we're doing that in the Wayne playing field, on the Wayne playing field. Not too far from the Wayne playing field, we have the Monipo Cemetery. This is a project that was very dear to my heart as well. And the reason being, when I attend funerals in my community, when my senior people come to me and tell me, Jeremiah, let me probably tell me there so me probably tell me V4. There is sentimental value even in death. People they have that notion of and from 2016, the then cemetery had met its capacity. When we came in, we did not hesitate to did a compulsory acquisition of the lands directly opposite the old cemetery. As we speak, we've had several burials happen there. The cemetery is not complete, but because the demand was so high, we had to go in and start the burials. We have in excess of 50 or 60 tombs that have been built, and we're doing the cemetery in a way that, we the people of Micoud North, we the people of Monipo can be proud to say that this is ours, and that's. So the works are going to continue. We're going to be burying in a chapel there, washroom there. And one of the things that I'm ensuring in every project that I undertake in the community is to ensure that, even from my end, start with myself, that there's a certain level of accessibility. So we're going to ensure that everywhere in the cemetery is fully accessible, everywhere. If we were to move a little further, you leave the Monipo Cemetery, go down to Patience. We're working on a massive project called the Patience Water Supply Improvement Project. And that project came on the heels of a time when we go days and days in the community without water. Our current water supply system is aged, it's tired. We don't have the capacity. What we've seen is development happening in the community, in the Wayne area. We see people coming in, several housing development happening, but we don't have the capacity to be able to feed the development that's happening there. So what we've done is we went back on a project with the CDB, and we've put in, we're going to be doing, and what we depend on now is gravity. So we're going to use the technology now, ensure that we have pumps and whatnot, and the capacity is going to be increased almost three or fourfold. And the whole idea is take into consideration that we're going to have even further development and further expansion in the community. We would be in a position maybe for the next 30, 40 years to be able to properly and adequately supply water to the community, so that the schools, the health centers, these agencies that have to close and these are essential agencies that have to close because we don't have water, this will be a problem of the past, it will be no more. So I think that is one of the projects that's closest to my heart, because I know what it is. And you have especially those individuals who do like the elderly care program. There are days when they come under tremendous pressure when they don't have water for 3, 4, 5 days. Some of us, we can afford to buy tanks. Not everybody can. And even those who can afford to buy tanks, because of the long delays and the long stops that we have in the water supply, their tanks will run out, or they literally have to kind of ration their water. We have a very nice water supply in Micoud North, and I think we're going to finally make use of what we have available to us. So I'm actually very happy about that project as well. It's still in Patience. We did the Patience this morning. Again, I went to the Patience preschool. There was a small preschool that burnt a few years ago before Dr. Gail Rigobert limited office. She started some work. We continued. We finished off the school. I also ensured that the school has full ramp, so if there's anybody who has wheelchairs, they can access the schools properly without any challenge or any difficulties. So that school has opened. Right there behind that school, we've done some work on the Patience playing field as well. We put in lights on that field. We've put in 2 outdoor gyms in the community, one in Patience and one in the Micoud, near the Micoud playing field. So we've done that. The Volet Road, that's a road that used to be the main road once upon a time, the main highway. That road has been in a very bad state for a very, very, very long time. As we speak, we've bring in, and not just the road, the people of Volet, some of them, I really feel their pain. Wasco changed policy not too long ago, where if you require a certain length, a certain amount of pipe, I don't know if it's more than 8 lengths or whatever it is, I'm not sure. But if you require more than 8 lengths, then they will not give you a connection because you're too far from the main. Yeah? So you may have to pay. And the people of Volet were the ones paying the price for that. Because there's no main there, they now were not in a position to be able to get water. We were able to bring in, when we did the project with the road, we're able to pay. I think we paid just a little over $207,000, but we brought a main pipe there, a main 4-inch pipe, and everybody now has a water connection inside of there. And we're doing the road. And whilst we're doing that, we've also started the land rationalization project. Prime Minister would have announced in his budget about the 30-year program. Most of my Volley people, because they're on Crown lands, they fall in that bracket of individuals who occupy Crown lands. We've already done the preliminary surveys. We've had meetings with them, several consultations with them. We've come in, mapped out whose house is there, whose zone is there, and they're just doing demarcation. So hopefully very soon, very soon, the people of Wallet will be in a position where they can get title and deed for their lands. So that is happening as well. So we've been doing quite a bit. I mean, roads all over the Lapwet Road. The Lapwet Road is, that's where I live. That road has been in a state for some time. We've been doing quite a bit of potholing over the years, over decades we've been doing potholing. We've done the complete refurbishment. We've done the first layer. I think Reno is coming in next week to put in the drains and to do the last layer of asphalting. So the people of Lapwet, it was a big project in excess of about $7 million. But I'm happy that the people of Lapwet are going to be able to get their road once and for all. Things to come. I mean, the people of Marguerite, and it takes us to a very important point, you know. And that's why I said my journey has really been an eye-opener. And I can admit it, I think one of my traits taken from the Prime Minister is you just have to level with people. Just tell people what it is.
Yes.
When I assumed office in 2021, I met with officials. Well, they engaged me, officials from the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS. And they told me about a project that they already started doing some work on for the people of Margaret to the community center. And I really bought into the rhetoric that we are going to be able to get a community center for the people of Margaret. So having understood that, I place very little pressure on Prime Minister for a community center for Margaret because I figure we can get it from an external agency. And a lot of dilly-dally. To date, 4.5 years. I literally have to go to the people of Margaret and apologize to them because I've had consultations with them, brought the people in with them, and I was on the full view that by now the people would have been utilizing their community center. And sometimes we get delays to no fault of ours, but the agencies that we deal with or we collaborate with, sometimes they don't deliver in a timely manner, and we have to go and tell these individuals that is the case. So that is why I've not been able to do the community center in Margaret. Notwithstanding that, Prime Minister have said to me that in the new term, and I know the new term is very soon, we will immediately embark on the community center through the funds of central government, not relying on the external agency, because I mean there has really been heart-wrenching for me as parliamentary, really hoping, because I know how the people of Margaret would feel, and through no fault of theirs, politicians before me have really treated Margaret, the people of Margaret, like the black sheep of the community, unfair to them, unfair, and they've been unfairly treated. And I've said, if there is one thing I don't want to do, is to I don't want Margaret people to feel like I'm just another politician coming just to look for their votes. The people of Margaret, and Margaret have produced some wonderful people, managers, doctors, police officers, in Margaret. And I think, so that is one of the projects we're going to embark on immediately. The Prali Field, we're going to be doing some work to it as well, so that the young people in Prali can have a recreational area, somewhere that they can call theirs. We have our farm roads, and I know one time when there was, just before the 2016 elections, there was some negotiations happening with the QATs, right? And I had Miko North would have had 4 farm roads under that project, but we all know what happened to that project. It was discontinued when governments changed, and these farm roads just became deplorable, just left abandoned. We've been doing, so I think we have an obligation to the farmers to go back, and I know that conversation started again with Senior Minister and the QATs, and we were a lot closer now than we were before in terms of securing some monies to do some work on the farm roads. And I'm hoping that my 4 roads
will be part of that.
That my 4 roads which were in the project previously will be part of the new cohort of roads that are going to be done, because I think we have Wayon, Piton, Maho, and we've done. Prime Minister have assured me that we're going to do some work on the Maho Road for sure. So the Maho Road and that bridge that connects Miku North and Miku South in Maho. After, I think, Hurricane Thomas, the river changed course and people have not been able to access so there's no connection there now. The only right, well, I saw a gentleman pass, but he had a, how you call this thing, a samurai. He had to use a samurai to cross the river, so the regular vehicle cannot pass there. So these are some of the things that we are going to be working on.
All right. You're here. We're going to open the lines in a while. I mean, Andre is going to be good to us because Andre took about 10 minutes of my program. He knows that I give no free lunches, no free passes. You interrupt me, I clock you.
It's amazing how fast.
Yeah, I clock you and I demand my time back. But before we open the lines, I mean, you have been in a government with tremendous achievements in 4 years. Just tell the public what it is, one achievement that you are so particularly proud of. It doesn't have to be in your constituency that the Philip JP administration has done that has touched you in any way.
All right, man. If you give me a hard job, to choose one, you tell me choose 5 or 6. But one of the initiatives that we've undertaken that I'm extremely proud of is one university per household, one university graduate per household. Yeah, I think that's a very, very, very telling initiative, and I'll tell you why. I think of people like myself, Terry, who, because of my background, who my mother is, I would never have been able to afford university. My siblings as well would not have been able to afford to go to university. I applied when I left school in 2007. I attended SAFA and then I left in 2009. And I wanted to go to university. People used to tell me I was an A student throughout my years. And people used to tell me, "Você é bright, why you continue à l'école? Oui, on peut continuer à l'école, vous êtes là pour aller à l'école." And I remember applying to UE 4 years back to back, getting accepted each time, and having to defer my acceptance because I just could not afford. My mother has no land. The little house we were living in at the time, we call it a college pool. That's how small it was, but we were happy with what we had. But I just could not afford. I started working, and I had to help my siblings go to school, and it was just impossible for me at the time to have gone to university. I only got a break, and I had to go. When I finally started university, I had to pay it on my own. But it really delayed where I could have been had I received an opportunity like that. And in my constituency, I think we're close to an election period. I can say it. I don't think none of my other MPs will do me anything for it. But I think Mikudnov has been one of the biggest beneficiaries of the one university graduate per child household. Because I have several individuals, and had it not been for the direct intervention of this Philip JPA government, these individuals would not have been able to go to any university. I assure you.
Yes.
And what it does, it really changes the life chances of the generation to come. Because I watch my sister, for instance, Tiffany, who just graduated from Monroe not too long ago. And I sit back and I reflect and I thank God. And I will be eternally grateful for, where we are and what we've been able to do. And that particular program has really, really touched my heart. When I see the children who are the beneficiaries of that program, and I tell myself, had it not been for Philip Joseph Pierre and Sean as Minister of Education, these people would never, ever be able to afford university. So that is one of the programs that I'm extremely, extremely proud of. And then what we did for the caregivers not too long ago. When you think of what are the benefits of such initiatives, these are individuals who traditionally would not have been able to go to the bank. And I know that because I have caregivers in my constituency. And they come to me and they fool my head. Me vle me teacher like I me pa ou me vle vin habite ou sa. Me le me ale bak la me say $2,000 sa ba me because they have to pay it within the contractual period. And it really puts them under some pressure. And it really reduces in terms of their access to finance and what they can do for their family. And they tell me when they come, they say, Jeremiah, say, pa habite me vle habite ou because man to avay. Me, but the bank will only consider the time you have on your contract. So right now, these individuals can go to the bank and comfortably take a loan of $15,000 to $20,000, whereas before, probably the most money they would have access to maybe $3,000 or $4,000, and now they can get a longer period to pay because the bank knows there's a certain level of permanence that comes with their position, and they're not under so much pressure, and it also relieves me as the MP of some headache, and I can now redirect these resources that I would have to give them to somebody who may require it more. Then when I look at, you see, what we're doing in Volet now, with the establishment or giving individuals title who have been in occupation for 40 years, the land rationalization project. I think that's a very, 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 very good project. And I say that and try not to say too many varies, because I remember last time I did not say so many varies. A very good project, because you think of it and think of the opportunities that come with having title. These individuals are in occupation. Some of them have nice houses there, and they cannot take a mortgage against the property because the land don't belong to them. Right now, we really changed their fortunes. We've changed the fortunes of their children. Their children can go now to the bank and say, here's what, my son wants to go and study medicine, and I need $90,000, and they can use their property now as collateral, as security against the loan that they're going to take, the student loan that they're going to take for their child. Had they not have that piece of land, they would not have been able to do that. And you just imagine now that your child becomes a doctor because you have a piece of land. That is the reality. And you know, that is why I love and appreciate Philip Joseph Peso, you know, because he puts himself in people's shoes, the ordinary man's shoes, and he will do anything that he can to ensure that he creates a level of empowerment, economic empowerment for. And you look at the initiatives that he has embarked on. You look at the programs that he put in place, the youth economy program. And what I love about the youth economy program is, I remember the Prime Minister, when we were doing groundbreaking for the youth economy program, I remember him saying specifically that he prefers 2 or 3 people taking the money and buying jeans with it. And he did not want it to be too stringent in terms of the administrative components of it, where it becomes so difficult to access. He rather 2 or 3 children tell you that they wanted to buy boots, and they take it and they buy jeans and they buy a cap to put in their head, and 30 and 40 succeed. And they actually get to go to the next step. He tells you he rather it that way, and I was very happy, because it showed me that the Prime Minister understands that not every one of us have equal opportunity. Not every one of us have equal access, and to ensure that you create an avenue where every Tom, Dick or Harry, and that you actually have people there who give you a hand-holding experience. So those people who may be a little bit timid because they figure, boy, I may not meet the requirements. When you go there, they actually hold your hand. You have people like Ryan James who walk you through the process.
Mr. Minister, I don't want to cut you, but
I'll give you 15 minutes.
All right. So let's set aside that time to take calls, Andre. Andre, could you just give the numbers?
All right.
Yeah.
The fixed line is 572-9710, 572-9710, or you can WhatsApp 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971. You have somebody on the line?
Yeah, you need the headphones. I know we can talk all day, but let's take this call. Good morning. Thanks for calling with the minister. Let's have your question, please.
Good morning. Bonjour, Mr. Fellenor.
Bonjour.
Good morning. JN is the best N.
Excel N Kini.
Good morning, sir.
Andre, bonjour.
Morning, Anthony.
Jeremiah, I must tell you, you said so many things there that some people didn't know, especially the one with the new idea next year with Mr. Conrad Wagner, which I know is a very good man. That's a very good proposal, and I wish you good luck with this. Some people just can't wait. As much as I'm not differently able, but I spare some efforts for them, because as Andre told you, tomorrow night we are heading down there for the fundraiser. Many times that we go to these events, some of them not successful. So my brother, thank you so much for that venture just about to take place next year, God's willing. I didn't want to go there, but on Power Politic with Mary, most times with myself and Miss Antonia's Alcendo. Even before that, a few days ago, Spider said something there that was of poor taste. Now, I mention his name because he's the one that said it. And also it was said by Nancy Charles, because she's the one who said it. I mention names because I need to make my point. Okay? They said that so many things about the government paid for, your surgery. And I know for sure you have said it on your I think on the Monday's briefing once you were explaining, but some people needs to know, as you're on the air right now, you're on the media, they needs to know just quickly. I know you don't have much time. Just quickly explain to them briefly what is it that actually, you had to take, to do on your own, so that you had to get through with your surgery.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that call. Let the minister answer.
All right. Thank you very much. Every time you have to relive this experience, it's really heart-wrenching, and it's really distasteful how low individuals will go in the name of politics.
Yeah.
And I've made an earnest pledge to myself to never allow myself to go to these levels. Never allow anything. And Andre, the record will show. I'm sure this show is recorded. And anywhere in the future, if you feel like I've gone that way, you can play the recording that I'm making here today. If ever I feel the need to go that low in politics, I ask God to allow me to leave politics instead. I will never, ever go down the gutter. And I've said it before. I went to the press conference. I felt almost obligated because of the level of lies that was being perpetuated about my own personal medical situation and what the government intervention was at that time. And I will say it here again today. I will say it. Unfortunately, I'm placed in the uncomfortable position of having to say it again, but I will say it. I said, when I had my accident, I was transported to the St. Jude's Hospital and then to Tapion Hospital. When I left Tapion, I was supposed to be transported to the Martinique, CHU in Martinique, what we know as La Martin, or La Mena, sorry. I was supposed to go to that hospital. We were in COVID times. The only people that could have given you permission to leave the state then had to be the government. So nobody else could have facilitated me leaving or would have given me permission apart from the government, naturally. And it's not for me. That is what you would have to do for anybody at the time, given the circumstances. I paid, and I'm going to say it here. When they came out with that the first time, and I said that was not true, I refused to go down into the details. I said that's not true. Nancy called me, and she said to me, Jeremiah, you need to, and I can say it, she said you need to retract the statement about they did not, that this government Chasney did not help you, because I have documents to show that we paid the air ambulance and stuff for you. I said, Nancy, listen to me very, very carefully. I, Jeremiah Norbert, for my own means and for my insurance, paid for my air ambulance. And I don't need to go into the details of it, but that is what happened. And I said, I'm not going to retract the statement because I know what level of expense I incurred when I had my accident. Conversation died there. Then I heard them going on and on and on, and then they came out with a letter signed by the now candidate for vying for Dennery South, Benson. When I went to Martinique, spent some days in Martinique, and when I left Martinique issued me with my bill and my insurance. I went to my medical insurance. And my medical insurance, and I can say it here, part of my insurance is that if I lost a limb, they were supposed to give me $25,000. To date, I have not collected the $25,000 because we had to pay Martinique. My Tapion bill was something to the tune of $100,000. I had to pay out of pocket. My insurance made a payment, and I made a co-payment of about $40,000 out of pocket. The Martinique bill, my insurance paid, and I made a co-payment. So when the letter came out, I said, here's what. I'm not refuting the fact that a letter was prepared or a letter was sent. However, I also want you to understand the times that we were in. St. Lucia had a huge amount of money for the medical institution in Martinique. The same thing happened even here with Vision Express and iOptical and them. So when they gave you that letter that they asked you to bring to the facility, the medical facility, to do a certain medical procedure, the medical facilities would not honor it because of the outstanding debt of the government. And those individuals who are listening and couldn't hear me and who have received assistance, especially those who have to do the eye surgery, will tell you, let me papier by you, you pour in check, you pack and I would have to call and find out and ensure that the check is received before they can undergo any sort of medical procedure. Right now, Martinique is going to honor that paper, and you know why? Because Philip Joseph Pierre, I went with him in April of this year to Martinique. I met with the medical director of the hospital, and he gave them a check to clear St. Lucia's bill. So right now we are in the good books. So right now they're going to honor. But in terms of any government, I did not receive, and I will say it again, no government paid any money for me. I'm not refuting the fact that they prepared a letter. But I paid, and my thing is, and I said it again, if they're willing to, I just know Philip Pierre will not accept it, but I say if they're willing to, I'm more than willing to allow them, if they're willing to take on the debt, and for them to be able to run and say they paid for me, I'm more than willing to allow them to take on the debt and run and give my money back. I can well do it for $150,000, $200,000 now, but so, but it just goes again, Andre, to show you the distastefulness in politics to try to expose somebody through and it's blatant lies and dishonesty to make people believe that they facilitated me in any way. And when I say sometimes I get emotional because and I vow never ever to go down that type of road in politics. Nothing in politics will allow me to try to degrade or expose anybody in that regard. And there are things I know. I'm in a ministry, there are things I know. And I refuse. I'm a member of a Philip JP cabinet, and I know he too will fire me if I go and say the things that I know. And the things that I know, if I say it, some people, they may have to run and leave St. Lucia. I refuse to go down that road.
Okay, Mr. Minister. I know it's very emotional. I don't know why it came up, because people are malicious and they cannot attack policy, so they attack people. They're even attacking me, Andre. Talking all kind of crap. I laugh about my mother, and I left my mother, and I abandoned my... I mean, these people that say all kind of nonsense. Yes, Andre. And I'm not a politician. I'm just a man who is doing a little PR for my party. I mean, I'll do that, but I take the blows. My brother just sent me something, and I just have to smile. Anyway, let's take another call, Andre. We have another caller?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good morning. Thanks for calling me, the Minister.
Yes, good morning to Mr. Norbert.
Yes, sir.
Morning to you, sir.
Yes, on the 25th of August, Mr. Norbert, we had a chat over the telephone on the upkeep and maintenance of the police vehicles. So I was just wondering if you considered you remember Mr. Norbert?
Yes, I remember very well.
So I'm just wondering what you think about it, and I want to find out how you taken my idea into consideration. Since I'm not heard from you, so I'm just calling you to find out.
All right.
To follow up.
To follow up. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think the gentleman who just called it I think he was genuinely concerned about the rate at which police vehicles find themselves in accidents. And usually you just see them sitting down somewhere. And every time government comes out and have to give the police new stock, and then you ask whether or not, and sometimes you hear some of them who now become politicians who are policemen say that we're not adding new stock, we're just replacing old vehicles. But when you have in excess of maybe 20 vehicles that are within the years 2022 to 2025, brand new vehicles, just sitting down there because they found themselves in accidents, and they're just sitting down. And it really begs the question, and I think that's why I always commend the St. Lucia Fire Service in terms of how they manage and how they deal with the assets given to them vis-a-vis, and I understand the nature of the work, but both of them require sirens, both of them are emergency vehicles, and I think it is something that we have to look at moving forward in terms of the general upkeep and maintenance of the police vehicles.
Okay. Let's have another call, Andre.
Sorry. We have to wrap. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Andre's about to kick me out there now, but Andre, that's fine.
Because by the time the minister wraps, gives his final words, I'm sure it'll take another 3 minutes or so.
That's okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Well, that emotional part, Mr. Minister, I hope you don't have to deliver that again. That's been cleared up. But, I know that the flabos, no matter what you say, they had baby, a house belonging to baby. They said, baby clarified that it's not him. But, they came back and said, but baby, that's your cousins.
Not even flabbo for me. He's generally human beings. You understand? There are some things that transcend any kind of political affiliation.
Yes.
And we're supposed to have a conscience. And if we have a conscience, there are some things. If you see somebody come and they beat me and say I'm not doing anything in Mikunov, I'm willing to take on that fight. You want to say I'm not doing anything in Mikunov, I coming into I straight up, let us talk. You want to talk about my government not doing anything, fine. But you see, once it has to, you want to granularize things and get into personal life, and you want to get into, and Jeremy dies already. It's just a nastiness. And it does not augur well for young people who want to get into politics, And even their parents tell them, me, why don't go in that? Why don't put your mother business out, your grandmother business out? So why can't we be a country that debates policy? I mean, there will always be a time for a pick on now and then.
Anyway, Mr. Minister, let's just wrap up. I mean,
All right,
speak to your people in Mykonos.
Yeah, again, Andre and Terry, let me just thank you all immensely for having me.
Welcome.
It's just amazing how fast the time passes when I'm here. You never have. I just wish the days were longer. However, to the people of Mykonos, I just want to thank them and thank them immensely for their support, their love, their dedication, my team, my supporters. And the good thing is in Miku, everybody is my supporter. Yeah. Even those who don't vote for me, they're my supporters. So I wanted to let them know that I love and appreciate them. I know the time will come very soon when the question will be asked again, where my shelf life will be tested. I have absolutely no doubt that when that time comes, there will only be one end, and it will be Jeremiah Norbert. I have no doubt. And I'm really looking forward to working even closer and doing more, developing and building the community with them and for them in the years to come. And I also want to thank Prime Minister immensely and my cabinet colleagues for affording me opportunity to be part of that cabinet and for giving me that level of support. I think every single minister have in their own way given me something for my constituency. I also want to thank my ministry staff for their commitment, their dedication, for what they've been doing, what they've done for St. Lucia, and what we're going to continue doing, especially for persons with disability and on the crime prevention component as well. So again, I just want to thank you all immensely for having me.
Andre,
yes,
thanks.
sir.
It was a pleasure being here. Until next Friday for another episode of Meet the Minister. Have a very safe weekend and see you in Chazelle, Andre. So fresh your first stop, but you're gonna make the slide next door. All right, so listening audience, viewers, have a very safe weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Fenelon, and thank you, Mr. Norbert.
Yes, sir.
This has been Meet the Minister, heard and seen on Rev-Up St. Lucia every Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So join Terrence next week for another Meet the Minister, only on Rev-Up St. Lucia. Well, this is the end of my stint here on Rev-Up for today, Friday, the 31st of October. Thanks for being with me on Wake Up and Live. We have Kina. She'll be with you until 3 o'clock this afternoon. From 3 until 5, we have Zen the DJ. Then from 5 until 6, it's Power Politic with Mary Polius. So have yourself a safe day. So long. Bye-bye.